Hey, everybody, welcome to the Postgame show. The Oklahoma City Thunder are the NBA champions. Everyone's talking about Tyrese Halliburton, and certainly we understand that. Here's the bottom line. He was able to play. He played in Game 6. He knew the risks. The team knew the risk. There's not an athlete worth his or her salt that would not have done the same thing. All right? So there's no controversy here. There's no, oh, boy, they shouldn't have done it. Wrong. He knew the risk. The Pacers knew the risk, and there wasn't a player right now that I can name that would have said, yeah, I'm not playing in a Game 7. So it's unfortunate. It sucks. He probably will be out all of next year, so we won't see him for the following season. But, Ryno, the good news is the Achilles surgeries now have become more advanced, and the recovery fully is more likely. We've seen instances of that, but it sucks, plain and simple.
Yeah, it does suck. Jason Tatum had his surgery within such a short time. It was the first of its case study. So who knows if Tyrese goes that way. I guess I would kick it to you with this, though. Were you surprised based on how good he looked in Game 6?
Was I surprised at what?
That he suffered the injury. He looked really good to me in Game 6. The calf didn't seem to be as bad as it appeared.
You know, I follow the football doctor, Dr. Norman Chow, and he's done a couple of videos on this. And based on what he was saying, I'm not really surprised because that was one of the risks. And when we're talking about Achilles tendonitis, which is what he diagnosed it as, you know, with that calf injury, this is one of the domino effects. Now, we're not doctors. I'm only going by what that doctor said, a renowned surgeon, and now is great at analyzing these type of injuries. Here's what I don't understand.
Yep.
Everyone watching, including Tyrese Halliburton, knew immediately that he tore his Achilles. The video didn't lie. The reaction by Halliburton didn't lie. And, you know, I love Mike Breen. And I've been very critical of Doris Burke and Richard Jefferson. But, like, they didn't mention the word Achilles once until the sideline reporter, Lisa Salter, said, I talked with Tyrese's dad, and he confirmed that it's an Achilles injury. I mean, really, what are we dealing with here? Stop the nonsense. Stop the secret crap. Oh, you don't know. Everybody watching knew that he ruptured his Achilles. You don't have to say he ruptured his Achilles, but you can at least say, well, you know, it certainly looks like an Achilles injury. They didn't do that. I don't understand that.
So I get mentioning that being possibly the injury, but you would have gone in and say, well, likely an Achilles.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%, because the video doesn't lie. The reaction of the player doesn't lie. Him being carried off the court in the fashion that he was with absolutely no weight bearing on that. Yes, 100%. Listen, when you see the calf buckle like that, in other words, it's almost like a rubber band snapping. You know it's the Achilles. Now, is it a full tear? I would never say that. But yes, of course I would have. It's just, what the hell is everyone so afraid of now in this society? I don't get it. But boy, you got to feel for Tyrese Halliburton. You know, I've never met anyone, and my son, by the way, is very good friends with Tyrese. And he speaks about Tyrese unlike almost any player that he's ever been around. And I've never heard a bad word about Tyrese Halliburton, just as the person and as the competitor. This is awful. It really, to me, took a lot of luster out of the game.
I thought it was interesting that he's been built up as this heel here in the NBA. He's the guy that was the most overrated. He likes playing, you know, the games with the media, the choke sign after Game 1 in New York. This tonight was a complete face turn. It makes you feel bad for what he fought for. Seeing him on the court like that, bringing this team clearly along with the magic that he brought to the court, Grant.
It was awful. There's just no other way around it. And I think it's it's not a little. What happened to him is very unfortunate, but it shouldn't take away from what the Thunder accomplished this year. 68 regular season wins, only 2 losses in the playoffs on their home floor. They deserved the championship. They proved throughout the year that they were the best team in the NBA, and they're not going anywhere. Barring injury, they're not going anywhere.
No, their setup is good as anybody under this new CBA, and it shouldn't take away from what the Pacers did, Grant. They beat Oklahoma City in the first half in an Oklahoma City style game without
Yep.
Tyrese Halliburton. It just became too much. The Thunder. That's why they're your champions.
Turnovers. That was the story. I mean, the Pacers in that third quarter were so sloppy with the basketball, and the Thunder didn't turn the ball over in the third quarter. That was really the turning point of the game.
Well, you know what? TJ McConnell was a blessing and a curse in this game. I felt the adjustment that wasn't made was he was getting deep into the lane where he wants to get, but you get guarded differently without Tyrese
Yeah.
Halliburton on the floor. And it caused the offense to stall. Guys weren't getting open, but shoot, the Pacers did not score a basket. TJ had 12 straight on his own, and then they don't score a basket in the fourth quarter until the 7-12 mark. So,
Yeah.
you know, I agree. I love their fight. They're going to be here to stay too. They're set up well at the point guard position, but a tough way to go out, no doubt.
It sure is. We take your phone calls here on the final post-game show of the year. We've got a lot coming up. It's the draft this week. Unfortunately, the Kings are on the sidelines as of now. And we've got the big trade today with Kevin Durant that we'll analyze in a couple of moments. And I'm a little surprised that they would announce that on the day of the Game 7 finals. Like, you know, but it is what it is. Real quickly, I don't like that trade at all for Houston. I think they became worse today. But we'll get into that. We
will indeed. Hit the link in the chat if you want to give us a call. Like Dirk, what's up, Dirk? Kick us off tonight.
My Game 7 prediction falls apart, but oh man, that's just the worst possible way they could go out here because you just lost Halliburton for the year next year. That means you lose all of the a year of all the the value contracts they have with young guys without having been extended. I don't know what you do at this point with this group, but that's just a horrible way to go out. You felt like they were going to rally, but man, TJ McConnell was turning the ball over like crazy. So even with all his points he scored, he was still at a abysmal plus minus. So yeah, I don't know what to make of it. I guess they have enough in Nembhard and McConnell, assume both guys are on the team next year, to maybe salvage a reasonable season from point guard. But
well, they can go out and get another player too. So I mean, that's an option.
Yeah, I think
the Kings are in that point guard market, right? It's not like there's a ton of. I mean, you're the Eastern Conference representative, right? You're more attractive than the Kings, I would say.
You think?
Maybe just a little.
Like, so we're 28 other teams.
Yeah, but I mean, you got all those D-list celebrities that Vivek will bring in.
Oh yeah, so I forgot about those. That's true. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's always positive.
But Indy has those really good shrimp cocktails. What's that place, Grant?
St. Elmo's.
St. Elmo's. There you go.
But speaking of great food, Bennett's.
It will make you cry. It will make your eyes water.
And you 8 of 27 from Shea, so you contained him. They did some things right, but shout out to the Oklahoma City Thunder too. They earned it. I'm just a little sad by this magical run that didn't pan out. But great, I told you I'd call win or loss. So
yeah, I appreciate it, Dirk. Always good hearing from you. You have a good week, okay?
Thanks, guys too.
Grant, I think this game looks dramatically different if Hallie doesn't get hurt. This was the first game Hallie looked like Hallie. Hitting 3 triples in a row. In fact, every single Thunder player was a negative in the plus minus, except one at halftime. So things were still rolling their way.
They had the lead at halftime.
They had the lead at halftime
by 1 point,
and they got a bad call. The physicality, I just got to say, got out of control at the end of this game. Guys were just clearly shoving people in the back. I get it's Game 7, but man. Something to remember.
And we'll see what the ratings are for this Game 7. Up to this point, it has been the lowest rated finals since I think it was either 2002 or 2003. So it'll be interesting to see if a Game 7 has changed that at all.
Well, and it'll be interesting to see how the NBA markets this style of basketball, because when you look at the numbers coming in to Game 7, these were the 2 closest teams. These were clearly the 2 best teams. Both teams were within 1 possession of each other for the entire finals. Both teams were playing at the same pace. So this is what the finals could look like. This is what Adam Silver wants them to look like, Grant.
Well, yeah, we'll see. He might see Oklahoma City in the finals for many years to come because they're stacked. They have a young team. They're the second youngest team to ever be in an NBA finals, and they have a lot of draft capital. They're a model run franchise. They
Yep.
just are. They've been a model run franchise. They've
Speak-
drafted extremely well. And in order to be a championship contending team as a small market, you must draft well. And
Yeah.
Sam Presti's done it better than anybody.
He absolutely has. Speaking of that, they have the 6th pick in the draft this year. They got Philly's pick, and they have Nikola Topic sitting there waiting
I know.
to go. Grant at point guard.
Exactly. How about that, huh?
Yeah.
No. All right. So I'm going to spend 60 seconds on this. We're going to get to more calls. We're going to talk about the game. I think the Houston Rockets made a bad trade today. That's my opinion. I think they gave up way too much for an aging, injury-prone player. And when Durant is healthy, yes, he's very good. But at this point in his career, he's not healthy enough for me, not for me to give up that type of package to get Kevin Durant. The Rockets make this move for one reason and one reason only. They think they can win a championship with what they have next year. And if they don't win a championship, it will even be a worse trade. I do not like this trade at all from Houston's perspective. Your thoughts?
I want yours on what Phoenix got in exchange.
Well, they get Dylan Brooks. They got their high draft pick, and they got Green. So they get Green, Brooks, and their high pick at number 10, and some other picks down the road.
4 second-round picks as well.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. But for Kevin Durant, I'm sorry. You think that makes Houston better? I don't.
No, I actually am with you on this. I don't love the trade for Kevin Durant. I don't think now you got to make a decision with Fred VanVleet, what you're going to do with him, because they extended the option a little bit longer. There's not going to be enough money there. Houston has said not on the record, but they plan to extend Durant. I just think it changes the formula. Durant doesn't fit in with the style of basketball that Houston plays. I think about Houston, it's physical, it's grinding, all of the things that Kevin Durant really is not.
And I got to tell you, I'm going to try to say this without making a mistake. Kevin Durant is a generational talent. Okay, the guy's great, but his legacy to me has nothing but blemishes all over it, because of how he left Oklahoma City and jumped on the bandwagon that was the Golden State Warriors. He leaves them, and they win another championship. To me, the legacy of Kevin Durant is glass half empty. It's completely empty for me. I look at his legacy, and I don't even raise my eyebrows over it. It's just so unimpressive to me. I don't think he's accomplished anything other than being, oh, let me go to this team. Oh, let me go to that team. Let me go to this team. I just don't have any respect for the guy in that regard. I have respect for him as a talent. He's a generational type of a talent, but to me, his legacy is very blemished.
So do you hold LeBron? Do you hold Chris Bosh? Those guys to the same standard?
No, I don't hold LeBron, because LeBron won a championship in Cleveland, okay, where he was drafted, and
but that was after. That was after. That was
I understand.
After. Yeah,
I understand. But he went to a franchise that nobody wanted to go to, okay, and brought a championship to his hometown. That's completely different than what Durant did.
Yeah, I would agree with you in that sense. That makes it different. I mean, that was kind of the era, though. That's where we're at now with the CBA, the NBA trying to combat that.
Yeah, well, that's different. You're right. The CBA is different now than when we're talking about during that era. And that's why now, more than ever, you better draft well if you're a market like Oklahoma City. Like, if you're looking at this from Sacramento's perspective, you have no chance. I'm sorry. You have no chance of being Oklahoma City if you don't draft well and get a stud in the draft. You have no chance.
And
I'm sorry, you just don't.
And you're behind the 8 ball with the compensation that you got for De'Aaron Fox. That's just the problem right there with what you have sitting on the roster. Let's go back to the phones. Michael Guerrero, thanks for calling in tonight, man.
What's happening, guys?
What's up,
Hey
brother?
there.
It was a great. I think both teams should be proud. Indiana, I know they lost the series, but I think they should be proud of what they've done all year. You know, I think if Halliburton was not injured in the first quarter, I think the game could have been much closer. I think. What do you guys think?
100%.
Probably.
What are you guys' thoughts about Kevin Durant joining the Rockets? I mean, how
We
is this
just
going to
talked
play?
about that. We just talked about that for
Oh,
5 minutes. And if you're joining us late, thank you for being with us. But we just went over that. I don't think it's a good trade. I don't like the trade from Houston's perspective. I don't think they became better today. That's my opinion.
okay. And then what's going to happen with the Suns? By the way, the Suns.
Well, the Suns to me are a team in flux. They still have some bad contracts. They have Bradley Beal, who I can't see being on the team next year. They have a stud player in Devin Booker.
Okay.
I'm not sure about their new owner, who's starting a second year with his management style.
Okay.
To me, they got better today, in my opinion, because they
Yeah.
have players that will be on the floor. I think they became a better team today, but I don't think they're relevant in the West based on what we know right now prior to the draft and prior to free agency.
Okay. So what are you? By the way, what are you guys? I mean, if you were to grade the Pacers and the Thunder, the season overall, probably I have to give both teams an A.
Obviously,
They were in
yes.
the finals.
They're in the finals. They both played better than they did better than last year. Both of them. They should be proud. They work hard all year.
Michael, appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining
too.
us. You have a good one. I would give the Pacers and the Thunder A pluses, not A's. Both of them A pluses.
Yeah. Know how to play together, enjoy playing together, pure joy out on the basketball court.
I mean, you got to remember, Indiana was a 4th seed, and they made it all the way to a Game 7 in the finals.
And it felt like this was going to be the night that, to me, because I thought Halliburton was a little bit more healthy, they would cap it off. I thought all the pressure was on OKC, so credit to them for making that run in the third quarter. They get 3 key turnovers that turn into 3 triples in a row.
It's huge, right?
Huge. It's everything. And really quick, going back to Durant, let the market open right now for DeMar DeRozan. There are teams out there that wanted this shoe to fall because they've been looking at DeMar as a backup option. And I'm glad, in a sense, for the Kings that this did fall when it did, especially before the draft.
Yes. And if the Kings are going to be in the draft, a lottery pick would be nice. But let me ask you for a package. Assuming that DeMar DeRozan is on the move, what do you think's realistic in terms of the return? Because you got to look at his age, right? Mm-hmm. You're talking about a team that would get DeRozan. It would be a short-term move for them, correct?
Yes. And it would be a team
it would be a win-now scenario.
Correct. Nailed it.
What is a team like that willing to give up to get a DeRozan? And if it is a team of that caliber, they probably don't have a lottery pick. So if you got a first-round pick, it would be later in the draft, and that doesn't really appeal to me.
Yeah, to me, any pick that would be attached to it would be in a future draft. You'd be looking, if it was, it would be a pick swap that would be probably late first. But I think you're looking more realistically towards a second-round pick because, as you said, if it's a team that's a contender, they're going to not want to dismantle a ton if they think they're a DeRozan close enough.
We're getting a lot of questions about Trae Young, not only on this show, although I see one, but on previous shows. I'm not a Trae Young fan. He's not good for the locker room. He's tough to coach. He, to me, is too sporadic. And I don't like Trae Young as a player on the Kings. I would not go there personally.
Why is he not good in the locker room?
He's just not. I've got a lot of friends that work for the Hawks. He's difficult to play with. I've talked with players that have played with him, and he's not a great guy to be. He's not easy to play with. And again, players that are ball dominant guys, okay, are you have to have a lot of the intangibles to make it work. And I don't think Trae Young has those. Do I think he's talented? Yes, he's very talented. But if I'm looking at rebuilding or moving forward with Trae Young as my point guard, That's not appealing to me. It's just not, personally.
Yeah, I think it's a situation where you'd also move on from Domas, because I think now you're in a similar place, like you said, a ball dominant point guard. And as for the spacing problems the Kings have, Trae Young covers a lot of ground on many possessions, and it will just muck stuff up. I mean, he's exciting
Yep.
here and there, but I'm in the same
I'm-
camp as you.
I mean, if you're going to be realistic and get a point guard that appears to be available, the guy that I would go after is Darius Garland.
Okay. You don't see you have him on the contract. He's signed through 27-28. You're
Yep.
paying him a decent penny. I don't hate it, but I'm not sure that I'm ready to get in and go all in with Darius, even though he's coming off a toe surgery. It's not a big consideration.
Yeah, that's not going to be that big of a deal. He might
Right.
not be ready for the start of the season, but I'm not looking at the Kings like winning a championship this year. I'm looking at them as, who can we have as our new quarterback? I'm going to use the term quarterback. Who can be the franchise at the position that I need them to be at quarterback? And of the players that we've been talking about,
Mhm.
and a guy that, again, might be available based on things that I'm reading out of Cleveland, I like that scenario. I think the guy is a dynamic player, and I think he'd be a guy I'd much rather have him than Trae Young.
Okay. I don't hate it. I would take him over Trae Young. I'm going to throw another name at you. This team made a big move. They traded Desmond Bane to Orlando. Now you've got a hole at the shooting guard position and 2 point guards that are low salary and one Scottie Pippen Jr. that has a lot of upside. What about John Morant, Grant?
Red flags again. Tough locker room, a lot of problems, behavioral issues, very questionable behavior. That would be a big time risk for Sacramento. Big time risk.
Is it a risk worth taking?
I wouldn't. After dealing with DeMarcus Cousins, I'm done taking risks with players that have red flags. I'm just not doing that.
But aren't there?
I'm not running my franchise by taking players that have already come in with a lot of baggage. I'm not doing that. That's me personally. I know a lot of people would disagree, but I'm not doing that.
But wouldn't you say DeMarcus's flags were a little bit different to a degree? We don't hear stories about Morant.
Different than
attitude.
Different than John Morant.
Yes, correct.
Well, behavioral issues that affect the quality of a locker room are to me pretty much the same. Not being able to count on a player being there because of his stupid decisions is enough for me to say, no, I don't want that player. That's me. That's me personally.
Yeah, I just, the more and Jerry and I have kind of kicked this around, the more that I've thought about it, and although I am uncomfortable, I share the same concerns as you. I think you have to take risks in this NBA for these next 3, 4, 5, 6 years. And at that position, if you were looking to make a huge difference, and let's assume we're talking about Memphis being interested in a Zach LaVine, that completely changes the dynamic of the situation in Sacramento with that contract off the books, in my opinion.
All right, don't forget about New Works Plumbing. They've got a fix for you for your plumbing needs and repairs. Give them a call, Sac Service Plumbing, or newworksplumbing.com, NEWWRXplumbing.com. They've got a fix for you. They're available around the clock 24/7. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. So you talk about Zach LaVine's deal. I would love to get his deal off the books. I think that would be a scenario where you would probably be more likely to take a risk.
Yeah, and that's kind of that commonality, because the Zach LaVine contract is a risk as it sits right now, and very similar issues in terms of games missed for different reasons for them. And then there's just different places around the league. You know, there's been some ties to the Kings maybe having interest in Jordan Clarkson, Colin Sexton. I would not be mad at a Colin Sexton coming in, Grant.
Yep. Yeah, I like Colin Sexton. I agree with you. I do know this. They need somebody that no, you could not fix Cousins. They need somebody at that position that's currently not on the roster. That much I think we can all agree at.
Absolutely. And you've got to look at some of the guys that are on the roster that probably, realistically, with what the Kings have financially, that need to develop before next season, that need to develop certain parts of their game so they can be in a position to possibly play 7 to 10 minutes a game. Guys like Isaac Jones, Grant.
But again, what did the Kings need last year? What did they need?
They needed
Well, the biggest thing is we need a point guard. That's for sure.
and then you needed that 4-5
Right.
length.
So Isaac Jones was available last year and basically didn't even play. So, like, what does that tell you?
Well, he's young. He was undrafted. I think because of
I know, but I'm just saying. I'm not saying throw away the key on Isaac Jones. I'm just saying, like, I would have liked to seen him a little bit more last year.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you. I mean, the Kings had 3 guys on their bench that were not in the NBA to start the season.
Yeah.
Just think about that.
All right, let's get back to Oklahoma City real quick. Right now, today, without even knowing what's going to happen in the draft or free agency, they're the team to beat next year. Would you agree with that?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. I would say they're the team to beat for the rest of this decade. That's how I understand we're in 2025, but I'm going to say that right now, for the rest of this decade, again, this is without injury because I can't forecast injuries. To me, they are clearly the team that everyone has to build their team around to try to beat.
I don't know if I'm going to go the rest of the deck. Well, yeah, we got 5.
Look how young they are. Look at Holmgren's still a baby.
I know, Grant, but I'm thinking about other teams that are on the verge, a piece or 2 away. You've got big names that could or could not be on the move. It's going to be a crazy offseason.
All right, give me a team. Name me a team then.
It'd be crazy to say the Spurs are the team to beat, but if I'm looking at contenders that I think can give Oklahoma City problems, I think the Spurs are 1 move away from giving Oklahoma City.
I don't think Fox can compete with SGA in that regard, but go ahead.
But I'm not convinced Fox is going to be on that roster.
Okay.
That's why I think you look at them. I still think Boston, when Tatum comes back, that's going to be a little bit of a problem because you have such contrasting styles of basketball.
Okay, but I'm talking about in the West right now. I'm not talking about teams in the East.
Okay. Well, now I get to narrow my mind down a little bit.
Yeah. So forget about Boston, forget about New York, forget about I'm talking about if you're in the West and you got to get to the finals, you have to go through Oklahoma City, in my opinion, for the rest of this decade. They are now similar in a different setup. I think they have a real chance to be the next Golden State Warriors.
You're right.
I really do.
Yeah, you're right. It runs through Oklahoma City in the West.
Now we talk about the first apron, the second apron, and but they're in great shape. Okay, and they see, Ryan. What I love about Oklahoma City, like they did last year, look at how important Caruso was for them. They gave up a good player in Josh Giddey.
Yes.
Look at what Caruso did for them. They can go out and get another Alex Caruso because they've got the draft capital. They've got the assets to go out and get what they need.
Well, they
got
absolutely
Hartenstein.
did.
Look at what Hartenstein did tonight.
Yep. And people want to go play there as well. It's a desirable place. Here's what they're looking at. I mean, they're going to have to make some decisions, Grant, on what they're going to do. Because they're not going to be able to keep everything, as we put that up for you really quick. SGA is going to get his big extension. But yeah, you've got plenty. That doesn't show the draft war chest that we've been talking about. But a guy like Aaron Wiggins, who's sitting there on the bench, dropped 41 on the Kings, 18 in game 2, could be very valuable. That could get you something else. So yeah, they have the ability to move and do what they want. But guys like Jalen Williams, they're going to have some decisions to make when it comes that time.
Well, see, Dirk's missing a good point here. He said OKC is really good, but they won 7 games with Denver and the Pacers. Dirk, let me point out one more time. They're the second youngest team to ever make the NBA Finals, okay? Ever. So not only did they beat those teams, they won a championship as the second youngest team. And here's the other aspect of this. I'm not in their locker room, but I talk to people that are close to that organization. They're all good guys. There are no problems in that locker room. Like, they have a tremendous culture, tremendous. And it starts with SGA, who's just a phenomenal guy. And everyone follows his lead. They have a great culture, and they're the second youngest team in the NBA. So why would I think that that's not going to continue for a foreseeable time, barring injury? I think it will.
You know, maybe that's why they already had the buses painted. Oklahoma City champions.
How about that, huh?
Did you see that?
I
Carlisle
did.
was like, all right,
That's pretty ballsy, huh?
that's really ballsy. They
Yeah.
knew they'd get one in the next couple of years. Those buses weren't going to go unused.
Well, man, they won't get one if SGA suffers an Achilles tear. That's for sure.
Well, here's the thing. Their type of play is conducive to the playoffs. It's where a little bit more gets let go. I was surprised that they were able to play as well at a higher pace with Indiana, because that's kind of been the knock on them most of the year. If you can really knock them for anything, historically, best plus minus in the history of the NBA names.
How about Bucky watching the show with his friends? All NBA hot followers, they say hi and ask, do you want to hear their opinion about OKC and the next few seasons? Well, yeah, I mean, of course I want to hear people's opinion. They're young, they are loaded, and every team in the West now has to figure out how they're going to compete with Oklahoma City.
So
that's just the way it is.
So would you say OKC is right on schedule, behind schedule, or
Way
you're
ahead of schedule? They're
Okay.
way ahead of schedule. Hey, Ryan, 2 seasons ago, they didn't make the playoffs.
Right.
I mean, think about that. They were behind the Kings 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Hey, Ryan, they won 40 games 2 years ago.
But they
40.
also were without Holmgren because he sat out a year.
I understand, but they won 40
difference.
games 2 years ago.
Yeah, definitely. Can't argue with that.
And the year before that, they were so bad they got Holmgren. No, I mean, you understand what I mean? Like,
I have to think back to make sure it wasn't one of those frozen envelope kind of things.
But you understand where I'm coming from, right?
No, I do. Yes.
I mean, they went from no playoffs 2 years ago to an NBA championship. That last time I looked, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and to make the jump that they did, I mean, being where they were at last year as the 1 seed in the playoffs, and to be able to suck that up and come back this year, pretty cool stuff for them. I'm happy for that fan base, Snapes. That has always been a really good fan base.
Well, that fan base is great. And, we always talk about teams moving. This has to be just another knife in the heart for the Seattle Supersonics fans. Not that this would have been their team, because they probably wouldn't have Sam Presti as the general manager, but you get my point. It's got to be very painful to watch.
Yeah, and hopefully the whispers that expansion might be closer than what Adam Silver has indicated are true, because I think Seattle and Vegas probably the top of the list for the NBA here domestically.
So, Baki, I have some bad news for you. He says, here it goes. As soon as they stop to give this MVP all those free throws next season, they are done. Marco, Stefan, and Darko, hello from Greece. Hello to those of you in Greece. I wish I was in Greece. I think you're so wrong. It's ridiculous to intimate that they gave SGA all these free throws, and that's why he was the MVP of the regular season. See, they're just burnt. They can't handle the fact that their boy, Nikola Jokic, didn't win the MVP. That's what this is all about. This isn't about SGA, because I know how they are in Serbia, because so many of my friends are Serbian.
True.
They can't handle the fact that their guy, Nikola Jokic, did not win the MVP. So, Baki, I'm right here, because you are one of them. You can't digest the fact that SGA won the MVP over Jokic. So you have to look at things that have no bearing on SGA's greatness and their championship to make you feel better about Jokic. I get it. Enjoy your time in Greece.
You know what cracks me up, though, is who was talking about the free throws before Doris Burke said free throw merchant?
Well, a lot of people were talking about SGA's free throws.
Yeah, but
right? I mean, that was they were talking about the way he was getting calls.
But Grant, even going back to last year, SGA was getting credit for playing old school, playing the mid range, getting to the line, right? And then all of a sudden, it took a turn. When you say free throw merchant, it wasn't a problem; it was a positive.
Again, I wish my point guard on my favorite team would get to the free throw line like SGA. He has a lot to do with that.
No doubt about it. No doubt. BJ
But I
wants
mean,
to.
again, I love those guys in Serbia. You know that. And Baki, you know I love you. And belated happy birthday, buddy. And Ryan, happy birthday to you. It was Ryan's birthday yesterday. Hope you had a great day.
Thank you, my friend. It was awesome.
But I'm glad to hear that. But they cannot handle the fact that Jokic didn't win the MVP. He shouldn't have been the MVP this year, in my opinion, because SGA was the quarterback on a team that won 68 freaking games. That, to me, would be my tiebreaker. Like if I had Jokic and SGA, which I would have had as my two guys, that would have been my tiebreaker.
Yeah, I can't. Well, you could say Jokic was the quarterback too of that Denver team, even though you have Jamal Murray. But
No question.
It's both sides of the ball too. That's the other thing. Jokic, yes, he's a good defender. He's at times, but he's not the defender that SGA is, in my opinion.
SGA, barring injury, is going to dominate this league the same way Nikola Jokic has dominated the league, by the way. They're going to continue to dominate the league.
It'll be interesting to see how this next generation kind of molds their games, because you're going to see a lot of SGA in the playoffs. You're going to see Jalen Brunson's possibly grinders, it'll be interesting to see. I just think this finals is a good representation of what's next.
I want to talk to you about EDH Motors, Automotive Reimagined in the EDH Town Center. You'll take delivery at the beautiful Auto Lounge. If you're looking to sell the vehicle, you've got the number there, you got the email. And if you are in the market to buy a vehicle, you go to edhmotors.com. And remember, if you don't see what you're looking for, no problem. David and Adam, with their decades of automotive experience, will get it for you. EDH Motors, again, taking delivery at their beautiful Auto Lounge at the El Dorado Hills Town Center. Check them out. They're awesome. Great new concept, long overdue. That's EDH Motors, Automotive Reimagined. So happy to have you here on this post-game show as we wrap up the NBA season. All right, so we talked about the champs. Who was the most disappointing team in the season in the season that just ended a couple of minutes ago? Which team?
The most disappointing team?
Most disappointing team.
I mean, you've got to put the Kings in the conversation. Unfortunately, you acquire a DeMar DeRozan. You're looking at both sides of the fence, coming off of 48 and 46 win seasons. You don't get what you want for De'Aaron Fox. Man, it's got to be probably the Pelicans, but how much of that was their fault? A lot of that was injury.
All because of injuries. My most disappointing team was the Phoenix Suns. They didn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah.
They went out and they got Bradley Beal, who they thought would be this. They had Devin Booker. They had Durant. They had a good backup point guard. They had a team that so underachieved. To me, they're the most disappointing team of the year.
But it's not like they fell off a cliff. You know what I mean? They were not playing great with those guys anyways, and getting Tyus Jones, you're thinking, all right, this will maybe take the ball handling responsibilities off of Booker, and it was just a little bit more of the same. Grayson didn't shoot as well from beyond the arc. I get it. It's just, where did that cliff for me? Most dramatic change from last year to the end of this season.
I don't understand this. Grant, Shea is terrible for the NBA, though. Everyone I know in my friendship group cannot stand watching him. Why? Why? Because he's not a high flyer and dunks over your head. The guy is a unbelievably talented player, extremely unselfish, tremendous distributor of the basketball, doesn't get in trouble, great husband, great father, great for the community. And that's what's wrong with our society today. You want the Draymond Greens of the world, right? You want all these idiots, and you have a guy that is a perfect role model for so many, who plays the game the right way, plays it at an unbelievably high level, and you think he's bad for the NBA. Shame on you.
I'm going to look at it a different way. People just forgot what basketball fundamentals are. It's been so long since you've seen them.
Bingo.
Did you hear the announcing team talking tonight about the gather step? That's 3 steps.
I did.
That's travel.
Yeah.
No, you get to gather.
I know. I used to go every year to the NBA meetings and the NBA ref training camp. And they used to put video on that all the time and try to trick us. And we all got it wrong. Like if they had shown that play at our meeting, all of us would have gotten wrong. And I think that's another problem with the NBA. You got to use common sense. That's a travel.
It is. I would agree with you. So let's talk about really quick, since season is over. They will meet and discuss changes to the rules. What are you thinking when it comes to replay? What are you thinking when it comes to officiating? How do you speed this up for the players in the game?
It's a great question. As it pertains to replay, there are too many games that are decided in the last 2 minutes by an incorrect call. And because a coach doesn't have a challenge, or because it's not reviewable, and I'm really talking more like the last 30 seconds and last possessions.
Right.
You can't have that. You can't. There's got to be a mechanism to fix that because you have the technology. And if the game takes an extra 2 to 3 minutes, so be it.
I think you take the challenges away from the coaches. I think that the biggest intersection that the NBA cannot or has a problem negotiating is officiating, and then the actual rule book which comes into play. You take away the nuance within the situation. So I really think you take the challenges away. Last 2 minutes of the game, you've got the eye in the sky. You've got all those TVs in Secaucus. It's a buzz down to the officials. That was missed. You walk to the table, make an announcement. We're reversing the play. We're calling this a foul, and that's it. And I think that speeds up the game. You're going to have less fouls, a little bit less turnovers because, Grant, there'll be times where the ball goes off of somebody and they were kind of hit and it was off them, but they give them the ball anyways. You can't do that with approximate fouls in replay now. So I just don't think replay feasibly works well in the NBA.
I also wish they would, as Jerry Reynolds has been saying for years, eliminate the corner three. I think the game would be so much better without the corner three. I think Jerry's been spot on talking about that for the last 10 years.
Grant, these guys can barely fit their feet between the end line and the three ball. How many you saw shots passed up tonight? Because guys were looking down at their feet to make sure they're not out of bounds.
Yeah, very true. So happy that you're here on the post-game show. We're putting a wrap on this NBA season as the Thunder are NBA champions, and you talk about building a team. Nobody does it better than Sam Presti has just shown. Presti has just done a magnificent job in Oklahoma City. Magnificent, just magnificent.
So if you're Sam Presti, do you reside over this thing, or do you go build something else? Your value's never
there's a lot
higher.
of talk about the Lakers because their new owner is not afraid to spend money. And, if they throw a salary 10 times more than he's making in Oklahoma City in a new challenge, I mean, what else does he need to accomplish in Oklahoma City?
The table is set for his successor. That's probably the best job if it ever becomes available.
But the other part is, he's in an environment where there's not a lot of media scrutiny and pressure. You can still have a life. You go from Oklahoma City to LA, you're in the frying pan.
Yeah.
And, that's not always appealing for everyone.
Very true. I was listening to Frank Isola and Brian Scalabrine, and they said he's one of the few GMs that can walk around and most of the time not be noticed.
That's exactly right. And I can understand that. Yep. I mean, there's a lot to be said for that. There's a lot to be said for that.
Do you think if the Thunder would have lost tonight, you'd have a different coach?
That's a great question. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe.
I come away giving him, Mark Diagno, a lot of credit, but what about Rick Carlisle? Even in loss, Grant, the adjustments that they continued to make. He holds the record for wins as an underdog in the NBA Finals. He just silently does his thing and gets the most out of his players.
He's, I think, the best coach in the NBA. I think he has proven it time and time again. And that's another reason that despite not having Tyrese Halliburton, and it's not official that he would miss the entire year, but we project him to, that they'll still be very competitive. They'll still be right there. I don't know if they'll be right there on the heels of winning a championship, but they'll still be very, very formidable.
Yeah, the Hallie thing is just such a big loss because
Sure it
I've taken the approach that you have. He's a special player, you know. He's just a special guy that changes the flow on the floor to a degree. And
And he was
without
great in
that,
the minutes that he played tonight, wasn't
oh,
he?
he's unbelievable. He
Yeah.
was taking those threes. He looked
Yep.
confident. It was the first time again that I thought Tyrese Halliburton looked like Tyrese Halliburton this entire series. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, they're in
Yep.
trouble. And yeah, then that moment happens that we all did not want to see.
All right. Keep those messages coming, and we do see them, and we appreciate them. So thank you very much. We have talked about Houston. Again, I personally do not think that they became better today. You've got the link if you want to call the show. So, yeah, all good. All good. We don't care about the Football World Cup. So, sorry, Baki.
I do care from this sense, Grant. Like you and I, we've got to bring clear plastic bags if we want to bring anything to a stadium. But did you check out the Rose Bowl yesterday? There's like smoke bombs going off in the crowd. There's
California.
holy crap.
Yeah.
Soccer.
Hey, I want to get this on here. Tristan, thank you so much. Thanks for the great season of content. You guys and Jerry are the best. Happy birthday as well. Tristan,
Thanks,
thank you.
Tris.
My birthday was on the 18th, along with Baki's. Ryan's birthday was yesterday. We greatly appreciate that, Tristan. Thank you very much.
We do indeed. You don't know this, I don't think, but we counted down. We celebrated some of your better moments on your birthday on the King's Court. It was a fun show.
Good. Okay, well,
So-
good. I'm glad I wasn't there to see that.
No, it was good. It was really good.
Yeah. This one, Houston instantly became soft. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, he doesn't fit with the culture. In fact, like he's one of those guys that usually gets frustrated before he gets physical. He's not a Dylan Brooks. He's not.
I think they became a worse team today.
Well, okay. And here's the other thing. What's this do for Şengün? How does a Kevin Durant work around an Albert Şengün?
Well, I'll tell you, he better fit in well because Şengün is one of the main reasons why they were the number 2 seed this year.
Yeah. It gives them this. I mean, if you're going to zone that team, good luck. You got 2 people that can kill you in the middle. But yeah, Reed Shepherd, is he going to be able to take a step for Houston? You know, the coach is going to be good. He'll find a way to work him. Got to make sure Durant's available.
Got a huge contract as well. Hello, Ed in Chile. We appreciate you joining us and everyone else right here on If You Don't Like That. The NBA draft is coming up on Wednesday. Just another nonsense move by the NBA. Like, do people really give a damn about the second round? They're going to put the second round all by itself on a separate night. It's stupid.
So
stupid.
bad.
I mean, it's
so
stupid.
Bad. Yes. It's not like the NBA has 7 rounds.
I mean, it's stupid.
It's probably going to happen maybe this year and next year, and they'll drop it back to one night. You know why?
That's stupid. The mid-season tournament in Vegas is stupid. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Well,
it really is.
Grant, they're trying to make the NBA like the NFL, where there's no.
Well, they're never going to do that. That's never going to happen. The NFL's ratings destroy the NBA. The fan appeal destroys the NBA. I mean, everything. It's not. It's silly. You just accept the fact that they're the king, and they're always going to be the king. That's why. Look at Christmas Day that used to be owned by the NBA. It's not owned by the NBA anymore. It's now owned by the NFL.
Yep. That's a very good point. It's an excellent point.
Right. And here's the other part. What do you think the NBA ratings are going to be like when LeBron James and Steph Curry aren't playing anymore? When you have, you have, well, as that person said, SGA, but he's not going to draw the people like LeBron James, right? You have, I mean, who's the next torch carrier of the NBA? I mean, I just think the NBA needs to accept the fact that it is what it is and stop with these stupid ass gimmicks.
I would agree with the gimmicks. It seems like they're moving the right way with the All-Star game. I guess it's hard to quantify the ratings, Grant. It's different because I don't know how many people, unless you're a hardcore basketball fan, that are between the ages of 18 and 24, tuned in to watch that game for the entire game. You're
And the
probably
NBA doesn't really care about the TV ratings, to be honest with you, because they got a multi-billion-dollar contract starting next year. And the only thing that Adam Silver gives a damn about is how much money the league's making for the owners. And the owners are like licking their chops because they're just their valuations continue to go up every single year. So the Adam Silver is not concerned at all about the TV ratings. He's just not.
I think you're going to get some pushback. I think the interesting crossroads is going to be with the regional channels, like how Sacramento fans watch the Kings on NBC Sports California. That's probably not going to be free here in the next few years. You're going to move to a pay to see every game of your team model, and it's about how you can translate that to devices or whatever they come
Okay,
up
and
with.
if you're not a good team, all right, if you're Sacramento and you're not relevant, a lot of people are going to go, I'm not paying for that.
Yes and no. I think a lot of that depends on Vivek. If Vivek keeps doing what he's been doing the last 18 months, then yeah, I think you're going to have a little bit of a line in the sand. But I think otherwise, if the Kings were playing hard, being ran the right way, I think most people would still buy it and support
when
that.
are they going to be run the right way?
Well, who knows? Maybe Vivek can venture off into baseball land and, buy a baseball team, move them somewhere else, and sell the Kings.
That would be great.
That'd
I'll
be
tell you what else
awesome.
is great. Sunrise Landing in Calusa. You go to calusasunrise.com and you'll get all the information on Sunrise Landing from Blazona Development. Many models to choose from. Remember, there are no Mellorews there and there's no homeowners. Golf, yeah, you got the Calusa Golf and Country Club adjacent to this beautiful project, Sunrise Landing. Easy to get to, I-5, Highway 45, Highway 20. Check it out, calusasunrise.com and Sunrise Landing. We appreciate them being such a big part of our show. Sunrise Landing in Calusa.
Amen. Realistically, when do you think the next time Kings fans can expect to have a microphone in front of Vivek Ranadive?
No time soon, in my opinion. No time soon. I think it would have already happened.
Okay.
First of all, I know Vivek. He hates doing it. He's not very good at it, and you have to hold his hand through the interview. Every time I've interviewed Vivek, he's got his handlers around him, his PR people over him like a hawk. I mean, it's because the guy can't think for himself to do an interview. I'm sorry, but he just can't. He's told what the questions are going to be, although we don't give the questions, but they're preparing him for everything. And he's not bad when you do the interview. I mean, he's not bad. It's like he's a very bright man. He's not stupid. I don't want to intimate that the guy's stupid, but he's not comfortable. There's a difference there. You understand?
Sure, like absolutely.
Okay, but he's not stupid. He's obviously a very bright individual. He's not bright in the basketball world, but outside of the basketball world, he's very bright. Basketball world, I would say he's an imbecile. But the fact is, he can't do an interview without his hand being held.
You could make an argument that any owner, short of somebody that's been a Hall of Fame player, that doesn't step away and let their basketball people do the basketball things, is an imbecile. You need to have a hand or a beat on the business, but let your organization work itself.
Boy, I'll tell you, if the Kings get off to a really bad start next year, oh my goodness. Oh boy.
Well, that's why I asked, because what would he's not going to do it voluntarily. What would the triggering event be? We know he doesn't show up for GM changes. We know he doesn't show up for head coaching changes. So I guess it would be a big signing or a big trade. Maybe.
I don't even think so. No, but we'll see. We'll see. But
indeed,
Oklahoma City wins it. The NBA champs, Tyrese Halliburton, just a devastating injury. Kevin Durant traded to Houston. The draft is coming up on Wednesday. We've been getting a couple of questions. Are you going to do anything for the draft? I'm not coming on live in the draft without the Kings having a pick. I'll come on after the draft and do my 8:00 show. What are you doing that day?
I will come on with you after.
Okay,
And
great.
we'll talk about the draft.
That sounds great. I appreciate that. So why don't you join us right after the first round, whenever that may be. I think it's probably going to be 7:30 or 8 Pacific time.
I'll make this exception. I will, and if you can, awesome, join me. But if the Kings were to do anything, if they move
Yes,
up,
we'll come on.
We'll come on right away.
Yeah. And that's why it's so important for you to make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, because you'll get notified when we're going to be doing shows. And there it is. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you.
Absolutely. You all are the best. We love being here, and partner, another one in the books. Crazy.
Yeah. Worst case scenario is the Kings coming out 500. No, that's not the worst case scenario. They can be a lot worse than 500, Dirk. Unless I'm misunderstanding what you're saying.
There's so many worst cases. Way worse than that, Dirk. Having to start all 3 of your two-way players, which I don't think you can do. Come on.
Again, to me, the draft is not going to be the big day. The draft is going to the July 1st is the big day. Free agency for the first 5 to 7 days, because if the Kings are going to make moves, assuming that they're not trying to get a number 1 pick, those moves are going to happen during that period of time.
I don't think you can. There's been some rumors about interest in Malik Monk in Toronto, some other places. Should be. He's a really good player. I like what he brings on and off the court. But I don't think if you're the Kings, you can move Malik. You can do anything until you make a decision on DeMar. Because as we sit today, you have 2 distributors, Grant, on the team, Malik Monk and Domantas Sabonis. When Malik Monk was injured at the end of last year, think about how big of a cluster it was. Valanciunas got us through with Sabonis out, but you can't afford to lose another creator. And I would argue DeMar's kind of a half creator.
And he's a bad defender, and he's a terrible defensive player. So you have a liability when he's on the floor.
That is true.
Zach LaVine's defense was terrible.
You're being nice. You're in a good mood.
Well, I mean, what other adjective should I use other than terrible?
Yeah. Below IQ. That's not even an adjective, though. Yeah, just IQ. Just think about if the Kings' IQ improves a little bit, Grant.
I can't imagine it getting much worse.
It couldn't. That's the thing. It can't. So I think fans probably will be a little bit pleasantly surprised if they make a couple of decent moves. A point guard, as Domas has said.
Well, the biggest thing is we need a point guard. That's for sure.
You haven't seen a true point guard that can play in the NBA on this team now in 3 years. Might change a lot. Takes a lot off Domas' plate.
Well, good luck. That's what I can say, because they don't grow on trees. And I'll tell you, you can get to Bennett's this week, enjoy their prime seafood and steaks, whether it is the Sacramento or Roseville location or the West Side Grill in Rockland. Say hello to Brian and the staff. Always great to get the positive feedback on Bennett's, the prime seafood and steaks. Hope you were there earlier today for their outstanding brunch. There's something for everyone at Bennett's. Again, Bennett'sRestaurants.com to make a reservation and check out more. Bennett'sRestaurants.com.
Our man, Patrick. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Patrick.
Appreciate you being up with us, too.
Yes, Patrick.
Right now.
Yes.
All the way in Long Island. Grant, should the Kings trade for Halliburton?
I know one thing. Halliburton just became a folk hero and everything else in Indiana sports legacy. He'll be loved there forever after what he did for this franchise this year.
If you're an Indy fan, how do you look back on this run?
Great. Unbelievably exciting, but you also think probably our best chance to win a championship when you look at what's going on in the landscape of the NBA. Kind of like what Sacramento did in 2002. They're never going to win a championship, or at least not in my lifetime. and that was their chance to win it. They were better than the Lakers, in my opinion, and they lost. And people still talk about that.
Well, the difference, yeah, that's the thing. The Kings were better than the Lakers. The Thunder did things at a historic rate
Yes.
this year on both sides of the court. I mean, they can be remembered as an offensively great team and a defensively great team. You could point to either one, but for Indiana, who up until the start of the year really was trying to kind of figure things out, Hallie wasn't playing with a lot of confidence. For them to play up through 6 games to pretty much the exact same level as the Thunder, a historic team, that's just crazy to me. They elevated so high.
Well, they also turned their team around to become this type of a franchise when they made the trade for Pascal Siakam, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So they went out and they got better with a trade, significantly better in an area that they really need to get better in. And look what it did for their team.
Well, Grant, they had a plan. When they traded for Hallie, the second that plane landed, they said, "You're our guy.
Yep.
You're our guy. We're going to build around you. What do you need?" And they executed their plan. And their depth, awesome depth. Their role players are stars in their roles. TJ McConnell, I just don't think TJ McConnell is as effective as a starting point guard as he is coming off the bench following a guy like Halliburton, because they're so drastically different.
Said the Kings were better than the Lakers, but they didn't play better. I disagree. I actually thought they did play better. They played better in game 2. They played better in game 3. They played better in the Robert Horry game 4. They won game 5. Game 6 was, to this day, still regarded as the worst officiated game in NBA history. And in game 7, they didn't play better. They didn't play better in game 1. Game 1, the Lakers were better. Game 7, they were better. And the Kings missed 14 free throws. But I believe, in my opinion, and I announced all of those games, that the Kings were better in games 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5, a toss-up. So let me just say that maybe they weren't better in game 5. I thought that was the best game of the series, to be honest with you. But so I'll just leave game 5 on the back burner and say that was a toss-up. That was an even game. Game 2, the Kings were better. Games 3, they were better. Game 4, they were better. Game 6, they were better. Game 7, they were not better. That's my opinion.
And for those that were not with you on Friday, I know you got to touch bases with Vlade.
Yes. I did have a conversation with Vlade. I read the text message that he responded to me, and basically it was, I needed a hip replacement surgery anyway, so it was good timing. That was what he said. And he said that the media is blowing this out of proportion. It was on his scooter that I've been on before.
Hold on. You've been on the scooter with Vlade?
With Vlade, yes.
Oh my gosh.
We were on the scooter last summer from, not this past summer, the summer before, from his wife's salon and kind of the town square on top of a hill down to where he lives on the ocean, Lustitsa Bay. Tiny red scooter. And I'm like, Vlade, there's no way both of us can get on this. And I was literally holding on the back, like, because half my butt was hanging off because there was no room.
Right.
And I'm thinking these tires are going to pop. And we drove about, it's probably a mile and a half, 2 miles, going down a windy ocean road. And I was just like, so yes, I've been on that little red scooter. Yes.
Partner, no offense, you're 6'2", but you must have looked like a little kid.
I took a video of it because it was nighttime and there was the full moon in the back. And I took a video because I could on the scooter as I'm holding on. I'm like, I'm sorry, even if I die, I got to take a video of this. And so I don't know what happened with Vlade. I don't know if he was on his phone. I don't know what happened. I didn't ask him that part, but he hit the curb and ended up breaking his hip, among other things. And of course, again, he said, well, I needed hip surgery anyway. I needed hip replacement anyway. So it's good timing.
Yeah. It gets to jump the line in that sense.
Bucky says, next time I'll wait for you downtown at Lustitsa Bay. Yes, that's a good idea. Yes. That was truly a phenomenal couple days that I had in Montenegro. What a beautiful, beautiful part of the world. It's just beautiful.
You know, Paul, that as Jerry Reynolds would say, that's
You just made the list.
Oops, wrong drop. That's a good question.
Ooh,
But the
that's
scooter,
a great question.
the scooter is there's no way that Vladdy should be on that scooter. I mean, he looks like it just looks so out of place. I don't even know how to say it. It's just unbelievable.
Well, he's like crazy recognizable over there. He's like a walking
He's God over there.
right.
I mean, all generations everywhere. I mean, and he's so great with everybody. He's so great. I got a funny story. We're pulling into an area not too far from him, and to park, the gate goes up and you pull out a ticket, right?
Mhm.
So he puts the ticket in the cup holder, and when we get back out, he grabs the ticket, and it literally has nothing on it. It's just a blank piece of paper. And he gives it to the attendant. Okay. And he goes, Vladdy goes in Serbian. I don't know what he was saying.
Uh-huh.
And then Vladdy starts laughing, and we move forward. I go, what's so funny? He said, the gate obviously recognized you and gave you a blank ticket because you don't have to pay. I was just like, and I was just like dying. I'm like, how great is that, huh?
That's so good.
The
It's
gate-
believable
the gate
too.
obviously recognized you and gave you a blank ticket because you don't have to pay. We don't accept your money here.
No good.
Is that a classic or what?
That's beautiful. Great technology over there, man.
I'm trying to find this little red scooter that I can put up in front of the camera if you can see it, because it's It's unbelievable.
Send it to me and I'll get it up on the screen.
all right. Hang on. All right.
I'll do my magic.
I won't send the video because I don't want to kill. I don't want but I'll send you the scooter.
All right. We'll get that up here in a second.
It's unbelievable, huh? That the stories.
I bet he probably does not pay for a thing just like that. Mystery.
He always wants to pay for everything because he's not comfortable not paying, and I really mean that. He's so generous, and he understands what he means to the people in that region of the world.
Mhm.
About Baki, he says he is like Poseidon there. They say it Blanco Bill. Is that
Blanco
what
bill,
they say?
white bill for anything that he buys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job.
All right, here we go. Let's see here. Let's see here. All right. Give me a second and I'll send it to you.
All right. We'll get that up. Only
I'm in the car this particular time. I'm driving his car as he's in front of me. So it may not be let me zoom in here and see if all right.
So do me a favor. If
Yeah.
you're ever over there again, and let's
Yeah.
say Vlade does get that scooter fixed, you're going to be on the back of the scooter, you call me. I will pay you to hire a photographer. We need pictures of both of you on the scooter going down the road.
All right. Well, I can do that for you.
All right. All right. We need that. All right.
Well, I only have a video, but let's see if I can find that video. Honestly, and Baki and everyone down there knows that is a beautiful part of the world. It really is.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
I don't know if that's going to be people going to be able to see that or not. 'Cause I
Yeah.
took it off the video.
Yeah, it's kind of tough.
All right.
Pay attention to Grant Sachs. He might be able to get something up there.
Yeah. Sorry. But it was, I'll tell you what a beautiful area, though, of the world. If you ever want to travel, the Adriatic, Croatia, Montenegro, you go inland to Serbia. I love Serbia. I mean, what a phenomenal country. So many great things.
Underrated. Baki says he'll be the photographer. Underrated coastlines, right, Napes?
Very underrated. Spectacularly beautiful.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we have heard.
Somebody said I bumped into Vladdy 3 times, class act. No question about it.
All right. I want to thank everybody for being with us throughout this NBA season and supporting this channel, supporting the King's Court, supporting our podcast. Looking forward, Grant, we're going to have a ton of content coming the rest of the summer. We start with the draft, obviously, on Wednesday. But thank you all, Napes. I'm going to let you give the final thoughts on this basketball season because I want to hear what you have to say, buddy.
Okay, well, I'll do that. And if you can give me 5 seconds here, and then if I can get this picture, I'll send it to you. And if you want to put it on, you can text me, and we'll do that.
I'll get it on the screen.
Video. I'm watching a video of this, and it's getting ready. Actually, it was a lot longer than I thought. It was probably a couple of miles. And we're lucky. I'm lucky that I'm able to watch this, and I didn't die after I'm watching this video. I'll send it to you, Ryno. I'm going to send you the video because you'll get a kick out of this. And if you can edit this in any way and show it, you have my permission. Okay.
All right, you got it. I will hold you to that, my friend.
All right. So I just sent it to you.
Perfect.
Can't send this video. Choose a different video and try it again. That's not going to work. All right. Don't worry about it.
Apple, my friend, still working on it. That's all right.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. Listen. I want everyone to know how much you appreciate it, but we're doing shows every day. We've got the draft, we've got NBA free agency, we got NFL training camps, but I love doing these shows with Ryno. I mean, we did 83 NBA post-game shows with the Kings. We did them all. We did a lot of these final games, but the interaction, that's what it's about. It's about the interaction. Thank you for everything. But this isn't a goodbye. This is just a thank you, because I'll be on tomorrow, and Ryan, of course, on Tuesdays at 3:00, got Jerry Reynolds and everything else. So this isn't a goodbye. It's just a thank you. Appreciate it. The NBA season is in the books. Congratulations to the Oklahoma City Thunder. They proved throughout the course of the season that they were the best team in the NBA. Talk to you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.